Hey everyone! So this is my beautiful best friend Kaylee, and she let me do her makeup today. And I thought it would be fun to film a video of this. I get a lot of questions about some of the makeup that I do, and thought that it would be beneficial maybe to somebody out there of how I kind of do things. Maybe someone can learn something. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So first I'm going to be starting off with the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. This is a really good primer. Not only does it help your foundation to stay on longer, but it also adds a little bit of luminosity underneath your foundation. And I really like this because even if you have oily skin, it doesn't add extra oil and make you look more oily. Kaylee has pretty combination to normal skin, I would say. Sometimes she has a couple of dry patches, sometimes she's a little bit oily, but for the most part, she's usually pretty normal skin. So I'm taking this Maybelline Superstay Better Skin Foundation in the shade 10 Porcelain, and I'm just going to be dotting this on her face and then blending it out with a black beauty blender. I really like the way the beauty blender applies foundation. It absorbs some of the excess product and also adds a little bit of moisture into your skin and blends it out pretty evenly. And this is probably my favorite way to apply my foundation by far. Make sure you blend it onto your neck. I know this is common sense, but a lot of people forget it, and you never want your neck to be a different color than your face. So after blending that out, I am going to take my MAC Pro Longwear Concealer in the shade NC15. This is a really good high coverage concealer. And I'm using a synthetic brush to apply this under her eyes in a upside down triangle kind of shape to really highlight. And I'm also applying it on the bridge of her nose and in between her eyebrows and a little bit on her chin. This is just going to highlight her face and bring these features forward. Another thing that I really like to think about when doing someone else's makeup is look at their face shape and look at their eye shape and find their most defining features and see how I can enhance them. So for Kaylee, she has very deep set eyes and they're a little bit downward turned on the very ends. I really like to kind of lift the outer corner of her eye and bring it forward. And this is just something I find is really important to really study who you're doing makeup on and try to do things that are flattering for their face and not just what would be good for your face. So I did already apply some Laura Mercier translucent powder, and I applied that with the damp beauty blender under her eyes and everywhere that I used concealer. And now I am taking this MAC Soft Ochre paint pot as an eyeshadow base. And that really helps cancel out any, discoloration in your eyelid and helps your eyeshadow stay on longer. Going back in with that same translucent setting powder all over her eyelids just to kind of set the base that we put down to help it get ready for the eyeshadow we will put on here shortly. So right now I am setting her face with the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Medium. I'm just taking a big powder brush and buffing this all over her face. Then I'm going to take a small tapered brush and kind of dust away that excess powder we have under her eyes. Then I'm going to be going in with the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. I use the middle shade on the bottom for bronzing, and I believe the shade is called Shadow Play. I really like this color because it is a little bit more warm toned, and so it really helps add more definition back into the face since we did add all that concealer and foundation. After bronzing, I really like to use the bottom left shade in the color Subconscious. This one's a little bit more ashy and gray toned, and that makes it perfect for contouring. The gray tone really helps to make it look more natural. And now I'm taking that same shade on a eye shadow blending brush, and I just ever so slightly contoured the sides of her nose. And now I am taking the shade Levitation. It is the top left, more pink toned powder, and I'm adding that under her eyes. And now I'm going to be taking the MAC blush in the shade Mocha, And after adding that, I decided I want a little bit more brightness on her cheeks, so I went back in with the Orgasm Blush from NARS. And I'm just taking a big blending brush and just blending this out and make it look a little bit more natural. Then I'm going to be curling her eyelashes and filling in her eyebrows. I am using a Anastasia Beverly Hills pomade in the shade Blonde. And sometimes I kind of like to also use the Brow Wiz in the shade Taupe, just towards the front ends of the brow. That way it gives it a little bit lighter and more natural of a look, whereas I use the pomade on the arch and the tail end just to kind of give it a little bit more definition. And I like to set those brows with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel. This is by far my favorite way to set my brows. It really helps them lock in and to stay there all day. And then I'm going to be taking the same MAC Soft Ochre paint pot that we used earlier to set her eyelids, just underneath her brows to define them and clean them up a little bit. Then I'm going to be taking a cream shade eyeshadow just to start off as a base. And since Kaylee's eyes are blue with a little bit of green, I find it very flattering to go in with mauve pinky shades in her transition just to help bring out the green a little bit. And my camera did cut out about halfway through the eyeshadow, so I apologize for missing part of this. I just went in with a couple of different shades of brown. One was a little bit more warm toned, and then the other one was a little bit more cool toned and a little bit darker. I really like to emphasize the darkest color on the outer corner of her eyes and really bring up that color on the outer edge. Like I said, her eyes are a little bit downturned, so by focusing the darkest color on the very outside corner and lifting it up, it also helps to give the illusion of whiter, brighter, and more doll-like eyes. Then I'm going to be going in with a cream shadow again, just underneath the brow, just to highlight. And then I really like to go in and blend all of the shades out. I'm taking some of the same colors I use on her eyelid, just under her eye. I like to do it on just the very outside, just to help give that more round shape. And I'm going to be going in with a yellow toned highlight shade for her inner tear duct and bring that a little bit on her lid just to add a little bit of shimmer. I'm going to be applying the black Kat Von D ink tattoo liner on her top lash line. Then I'm going to apply the Becca highlighter in the shade Opal. I am placing this on the high points of her face, which are her cheekbones and a little bit down the bridge of her nose, just to add a little bit of shimmer. Then I will finish off the face with the Urban Decay All Nighter Makeup Setting Spray. Then I will take the Maybelline The Rocket Mascara and just apply this on her bottom and top lashes. Next, I will be using the sample size of the YSL Vinyl Couture Mascara. I believe I got this as a perk from Sephora, and I am in love with this mascara. I have never found a high-end mascara that actually works better than a drugstore mascara. So then we're going to go in with lips, and I decided to go in with the MAC Subculture Lip Liner. This is kind of a very neutral nude lip liner, and I'm using that for a base for the Kat Von D Bow and Arrow Everlasting Liquid Lipstick. And I thought that this would be a really good shade for her, especially because she was wearing a maroon top, and we did a fairly smoky eye. So just to keep it a little bit more natural, a little bit more subtle, I went for this shade. After looking at it, I decided it was a little bit too dark, so I went in with the MAC Lip Glass in Please Me. This is a pale nude, and I just added this to the center of her lips just to lighten them up a little bit. So this is the final product. I had so much fun doing her makeup, as always, and I hope that someone found this useful and maybe learned a couple of things. And I hope to see you guys very soon. Thank you so much for watching.